Hello, I am Grace. Welcome to Asana 2, Ecstatic Yoga, Safe Movements for the Knees and Wrists. We're going to be going through a Surya Namaskara showing you some things you can do to create safe movements for the knees and the wrists. So let's begin. We're going to go through this Surya Namaskara. So we're going to stand up, come to the front of your mat. I'm going to face you for a moment just so you can see me. We're going to move into our first pose is mountain. Those feet are hip width apart. You can bring the wrists. Check that. Beautiful. And first rule of thumb for the standing poses is a micro bend in the knees. So we don't want to lock those knees. Have a nice little micro bend in the knee. The other thing is you want to have the knee aligned. So the center of the knee should come right through the center of the second and third toes. I'm going to adjust my toe a little bit. And this protects the knees to keep it aligned, to keep the knees aligned. And then when we're in our mountain, we can move into our thigh loop. Remember that begins just below the knees. So we're going to engage these quadriceps so we can have a nice lift of the knee. And you'll feel the muscles are being pulled up towards the hip. And to create muscular balance, we're going to engage these hamstrings slightly. So we have muscular balance and all those muscles are being pulled up towards the hip. This protects our knees using this thigh loop. And we will move back into my thigh loop here. I'm going to move to the front of the mat. I'm going to inhale. Let's bring those arms up. Now to protect our hips, as we know, I'll go over this more in our hips video. We can either bring these arms way out in angel wings. We can bring them down to the center. This is while we hinge at the hips or bring the hands to the hips. I'm going to tilt that pelvis forward just slightly and begin to hinge at the hips. So right now, the only joint that's moving, other than my mouth, is these hips. When I find this range of motion, I'm at my max, I'm at my edge here, I round the spine into forward fold. Now there's some things you can do for your wrists here for forward fold. You can bring a block that protects the wrist. So gentle micro band helps. There's a lot of tightness in the back of these thighs. You can grab your elbows. Hands can go behind the back. Like the legs. You don't want to put any pressure on those wrists. You're going to come up into half forward fold. And exhaling back down into forward fold. And then inhaling into our Ajna Asana, high lunge. Now, the option is always go into low lunge, and you can always put a blanket that protects that knee and makes it more comfortable if you need. Now, when we're in our lower lunge, we don't have to worry so much about this front knee, the bent knee, going over the ankle when we're in our low lunge, because the majority of the weight is in this back leg here, and this back knee and this your lower leg. So we can bring that and do our lunge rocks and not have to worry about strain on this front leg for a low lunge. But if we come up into a high lunge, there's a few principles we want to engage. So the first thing we want to do is to watch that knee is directly over the ankle or a little bit behind. This back leg can be in a thigh loop, so we can be engaging these quadriceps, feeling that lift of the knee. Now the weight to protect for the best protection of your knees, this is going to be a little more weight in this straight leg in the back, in the ball of my foot. The bent knee is going to be a little more weight in the heel. And that protects the knee. So you can feel that. It's probably almost natural for you that you have a little more weight in the ball of the foot, a little more weight in the heel, but you can bring your awareness to that, and that helps the knee. Okay, so now we're going to move into our downward facing dog. Bring the hands down to the mat, bring that leg back. And there's some things we can do in downward facing dog. With the knees, we just bring those thighs back, micro bend, and feel that lift. For the wrists, first thing you might want to do is move into spider grip, stretching those fingers apart, evenly distributing the weight between the palms, the fingers, and pressing those joints, those knuckles into the earth, really protects the wrists. If this still isn't enough, there's a few things you can do. You can come up into teacup, take some pressure off the wrists, also fists. That helps your wrist. You're starting to feel some strain in your wrists. Those are a few things. Now, if none of those work for you, and you still feel some discomfort in your wrists, then you can move into dolphin. So here we are in dolphin, and there's no strain or weight on our wrists. And now we are going to be moving into chaturanga. So one thing, a rule of thumb, is to have this crease of the elbow squarely facing the front of the mat. The knees and the wrists should be aligned, so the wrists, the elbows are right over the wrists. And as you bend those, you want to keep that elbow over the wrist coming down. And all those things with the fingers. And you can come up into up dog. Now, there's a few things with this. And that most popular modification for people that struggle with some wrist issues is moving into your Sphinx. So here you are, nothing on your wrists. And you can still do, if you're up into your up dog, you can do the spider grip, you can do teacup, you can even do fist in your up dog. But see, I need to get them a little better aligned. So the when I'm in my up dog, I'm gonna have my modification can come into dolphin. We still want to have everything aligned, the shoulder aligned, the elbow, and when we're up, the outer shoulder aligned with the wrists. So we're going to move into table now. So there's some things we can do with the wrists. Again, our spider grip as you move into table, keeping everything here, of course. Blanket under the knee when we're in our table pose for comfort. And then we're going to move into balasana. What we can do with our child's pose or balasana, this helps bring comfort and protection. This is a deep flexion. It's bringing me behind the blanket behind the knees. And coming up. Now, another thing with deep flexion in the knees is balasana, hero pose. And we're going into deep flexion of the knees, blanket behind the knees, and then we can also put a block behind the knees in child's pose. It's not as comfortable as a blanket, but you can sit on this block in your Virasana hero pose, and that brings more comfort to the knees, brings protection to the knees, and when you're in deep flexion with that. And so we are going to go back, balance everything out, go back through our Surya Namaskara, and then we're going to do one more to breath and conclude this lesson, this short practice. So we're going to move back into downward facing dog, review. Going to feel the Fingers stretched out into a spider grip, weight evenly distributed between the palms and the fingers, pressing the knuckles into the earth to protect those wrists. And inhaling, we're going to bring the right leg up between the hands, bring that right foot up, bring the right knee right aligned over the right ankle, and bring those arms up. Nice Anjali Asana. Feel a nice lift of the quadriceps and the knee, the back leg. And taking a couple breaths here. You're in a low lunge, you can bring a blanket under the knee. Exhaling, we're going to move right into our forward fold. Finding that alignment, center of the knee, going right through first and second toe. Nice little micro bend in the knees. Relaxing, find a comfortable place for the wrists. Inhale halfway up. Exhaling down. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, lifting the head, lifting the heart, coming all the way back up. And let's put one more Surya Namaskar breath, just for the fun of it. Inhaling into nice extended Tadasana, mountain pose. Exhaling into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, half forward fold. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, right leg back into higher low lunge. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Inhaling into up dog. Exhaling back into down dog. Surya Namaskar C. Inhaling, right leg up, higher low lunge. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, half forward fold. Exhaling, forward fold. And inhaling into our mountain Tadasana. And we're going to bring those hands in front of the heart. Come to a seated position for a moment. And thank you for joining me for this class on knee and wrist safe movements. I am Grace with Ecstatic Yoga. You can go to ecstaticyoga.studio for more information on our yoga teacher trainings and our yoga retreats. Wishing you a most beautiful and most blessed day. Namaste. Namaste.